Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. Now, I've been very lucky over the past few years to have driven most of the Porsche range, a whole bunch of 911s, Boxster, Cayman, Macan, Cayenne, Panamera and Taycan. But although I've driven Taycan and a number of variants, I've never actually driven my favourite looking Taycan, the Sport or Cross Turismo. So I decided I'd best put that one to rights, and I borrowed that for the next few days. It's a Cross Turismo. It's a beautiful spec. The colour, by the way, Provence. That's going to create a little bit of debate in the comments, no doubt. But I've got a few important tests, a road trip and an economy test. So in this video, I'm going to be joined by Tracy and the pups. We're going to go on a bit of a road trip, and I thought you guys would like to come along for the ride. Now, the sun is very bright and low in the sky, so it's a little bit challenging for filming, but I'm not complaining because the weather's beautiful and we've got a few days off and we're going to escape the madness. And what better car to do it in? Or maybe that's not the case, because the words road trip, Tracy and electric vehicle have never been uttered in the same sentence by any sane human being. It's just not happening, people, but I am confident. First up, I'm confident of the range this car has. Secondly, we've got destination charging at the hotel we're staying in, so the chances are we're probably not going to need to fill up with electrons on the way or on the way back, unless something goes wrong. But I've always loved the Cross and Sport Turismo, and the differences are minimal. The body shape is pretty much the same. This is the Cross Turismo. You've got the kind of black plastic trim around the wheels, a slightly raised ride height. It's more of the kind of urban crossover-y type looking vehicle, but it's the rear of the car. I've always been quite a fan of the newer Panamera, the Sport Turismo Panamera, and this just takes that on another level. I think it's way better looking than a standard Taycan, and I'll be interesting to see if it's more practical, because the dogs are coming as well. But all in all, a good looking car. I love the wheels. I'll run through the spec once we're on our way, but a really lovely looking car. Let's head round the back and I'll show you my favourite view, maybe of any Porsche. Before we take a look at the back, can we just take a moment to appreciate these wheels? Cross Turismo design wheels. They are a £3,500 option, 21 inch, but they are spectacularly good looking. The other thing I want to show you is it's got old man entry mode, this car. If I open the door, just watch what happens to the ride height. Ooh. It just lifts up a couple of inches and it just makes ingress and egress just that little bit more easy, you know, if you're having to make old man noises as you enter and exit a car. Ugh. But yes, I love that old man mode, and if you lock the car, it just hunkers back down onto its suspension. I just think this looks so good, so good. I've always liked the styling. It just looks fast when it's standing still. But the big question that I need to answer is this kind of almost estate shooting brake format car gonna be more practical? Am I gonna be able to get more stuff in there? And I haven't got a standard Taycan next to it to kind of gauge, but the boot does look much bigger and much more usable. Now, my normal tests are, can I get two dogs in a boot? Well, the dogs are coming with us, but they're actually going to go in the rear passenger seats. And can I get my bike in the boot? Well, I've got another solution for that, because this comes with the attachments and fitment for a Porsche rear-mounted bike carrier. And I've got one with me. Let's go on, fit it to the car, and then try and get some bikes on the back. But yes, just lovely. What are we thinking about the colour, by the way? It's growing on me. When I first saw the pictures of the press car, I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure about that. But actually, I quite like it. So here it is attached to the rear of the Taycan. Now, if you watch the channel for long enough, you know that one of my regular tests is, can I fit a bike in the boot? And if I can't, I'll often refer to the fact that I'll put my bikes on the roof. In fact, I've done that on videos in the past. But my preferred method of carrying a bike is actually a rear-mounted carrier. There are two reasons for that. Firstly, if you've got your bikes on the roof, you've always got that worry. If you drive into a car park with one of those low height barriers and forget the bikes are up there, it's a very nasty thing and very expensive. And you may laugh, I've never done it myself, but I've seen it done and it's not pleasant. The other challenge with having the bikes on the roof of a car is they're in the airflow, and it really does hamper your fuel efficiency. So rear-mounted carriers kind of do away with both of those things. The carriers I've had in the past was a tow bar mounted carrier that basically clamped onto the ball of the tow hitch. Whereas this, the car has preparation for this. This is a Porsche designed bike carrier, and it actually fits into the chassis on these two very substantial bars either side, a good couple of inches thick. This is a proper rugged bit of kit. Now, if you are going to use a bike carrier, the most important thing is to make sure that you use a bike carrier that's suitable for the bikes you're going to carry, especially when it comes to weight. Now, if you're transporting a road bike or a hybrid or a normal mountain bike, that's probably not an issue, whether it's on the roof or behind the car. But in this case, I want to transport my e-bikes. Each one of those is roughly 20 kilos. So that's a significant weight to have on the car. And you'll probably find that most roof-mounted bike carriers won't carry a bike of that weight. And the other thing is you've then got to get a 20 kilo bike onto the roof of a car. So for e-bikes, you're typically limited to rear-mounted carriers, but you still need to make sure that your carrier is rated to carry e-bikes. This one is, so I should be okay. Okay, so let me load up the two bikes. I'm doing this kind of live on camera. I'm just going to release these straps. I'm going to lift this. These are the two connectors that are basically going to connect to either the crossbar or maybe a seat post. So I'm going to lift this one out the way because it's for the bike that's furthest away from the car. And I'm going to put, this is Tracy's bike, so I'm going to put this one on first and see how I get on. As I said, they're not the lightest of things in the world, but excellent. And then that, how's that going to work for this? Probably do that. Put that under there. Now, if I was, I'm putting these on for demonstration purposes. If I was taking these on a long trip, even though they actually come with some rubber protectors, I would probably just put some kind of cloth in there just to protect the frame a little bit. Then these go around here and just connect onto that, and this one goes around here. And for the purposes of this demonstration, that's as tight as I'm going to do them. Clearly, if I was going on a journey, which I'm not, but that is nice and safely in place. Let's tighten that up a little bit, maybe. And then there's also a lock on there so you can lock them on. And that's nice and safe for that one. Nice and clear of the car as well, which is super important. Then I'm going to get my bike. I'm going to put the handlebars this side so that they're opposites. And obviously my bike is giganormous compared to Tracy's bike. But lift that on. Put that on there like that. That on there like that, roughly there. Drop this down. Oh, you see, that's quite easy. Just open this a little bit. Drop that down there like that. Put that in there. Look at this. Super simple. Ratchet that a little bit like you do your snowboard boots. Oh, there you go. Super simple. Now, as I've said, I'm not actually going anywhere right now. I've just put these on for demonstration purposes. If I was, firstly, I would put protective cloth in all the areas to stop these ratchets scratching my frame. Secondly, I'd tighten everything up a lot more than it is now. But also, there are locks on these two top ratchets here to help prevent the bikes being removed in a service station. However, experience tells me that if you want to be extra safe, a decent lock around the actual carrier and the bikes when you park up at a service station is highly recommended. Removal of this actual cycle carrier is impossible unless you break it down. You can't just pull it out the back. So it's not like they can take the cycle carrier off with the bikes on it. You just need to stop the bikes being removed from the cycle carrier. But there we go. Yeah, now unfortunately, we're taking the car to Cornwall over the weekend, and the plans don't really allow for us to go cycling. We've got lots and lots of things on and not a huge amount of time. And if I do get time for some exercise, it's likely to be a run along the beach with my running partner, my dog. So we aren't going to be taking the bikes to Cornwall. So that means I need to take the carrier back off again. But I have to say, as a Porsche bit of kit that you can buy with the car, if you're a cyclist and you're speccing a Taycan Sport or Cross Turismo, make sure you spec the Porsche cycle carrier because it's a brilliant bit of kit. It is now the next day. The car has had a full charge on my 7 kilowatt charger, so we're at 100% and the girls are in. So we're all packed. Now this is the first thing about Taycan is if we go in the back, the girls are in there already, look, all harnessed in, ready to go. They know they're on a bit of an adventure. So there's loads of room in the back for them. And then the boot has swallowed all of our luggage, which is quite impressive. There is a small front boot in this, but I've just put the charge cables in there. I've taken all the charge cables that we have with the car with us, just in case. But the next thing is we're going to get on our way. And the interesting thing is Tracy's on the insurance, so she'll be driving. I'm not so sure I'm going to get anywhere near this car this week. There was no way I was going to get to drive this, was there?
You drove it yesterday, so it must have been my turn.
It's your turn. Okay, so you've been driving it for less than 10 miles. How is it?
Oh, it's fantastic. I love this car.
You love Taycans, don't you?
I do.
What do you love about it?
Everything.
How about the Provence?
The jury's out.
The jury's out?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wait for that one a little bit. Now, one of the things we are going to do, I know I said we weren't going to take the bikes with us because we've got quite a lot on, and I don't think the weather's actually going to be that great, is it? It's lovely now.
No.
We're going to do an efficiency run. Well, we're going to see what the efficiency is on the 220 miles down to Cornwall. And then when I get back on Sunday, I'm going to put the bikes on the back of the car, and I'm going to go up the road for a drive up the motorway and see what the difference is from an efficiency point of view. I don't think it's going to be that much, but stay tuned to the video for that. But then most importantly, in the back, the girls are chilling out, fast asleep.
In luxury.
In absolute luxury. But yes, you can keep on driving, and maybe I'll get a go later.
Maybe.
That's just never going to happen. Off the main road and onto some nice Cornish width roads in a very wide Taycan.
Yeah, you haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, that's the big challenge in Cornwall. It gets narrow really, really quickly. But hey ho, we've got 14 miles to go to the hotel. We've arrived.
Indeed.
So, we are staying at the St Enedoc Hotel, our favourite little spot in Cornwall, but interestingly was acquired early in the new year by Paul Ainsworth, who also owns my favourite pub, which is just up the road, called the Mariners. And we can't wait to see what's changed. Certainly can't wait to see what lunch is going to be like, because I'm starving. I don't know about you.
Starving.
Girls are good in the back, but we've done 4 hours 24.
All good.
231 miles. Now that is a view worth driving to Cornwall for. Only 4.5 hours to get here. We've got the Taycan parked up, pretty much unloaded, and we are plugged into the hotel charger. All I would say is that is costing 90 pence per kilowatt hour. Ouch. I brought my own charge cable with me, so that's all good. We arrive with 50 miles of range. So if we just go inside, 52 miles now, look. 20% of battery. So it should be finished. Charge reached at 5:25 tomorrow morning. That's going to cost me a lot, but never mind. At least we'll be able to drive home. But anyway, I'm going to go and enjoy a beer in the bar now. On our way home.
I know, it's a beautiful sunny day.
So we've done no filming while we've been down here because we've been on holiday. So the next bit of the film is tomorrow probably when I get home and I put the bikes on the back and do the second part of the efficiency run. But I did just want to talk about charging because yes, we just plugged into charging that was 90 pence per kilowatt hour, which is horrific. And I will be giving a little bit of feedback to the hotel on that one. But if you use the Porsche charging network, now you could go to a Porsche Centre and use one of their 350 kilowatt ultra rapid chargers. It's only 39 pence a kilowatt for ultra rapid charging, which makes what we paid last night look like a total rip-off, which is a nightmare. Or you can charge at home for probably less than 10 pence a kilowatt hour. So yes, last night's charging was a little bit painful. But TG is going to do the first bit of the driving. The girls are in the back, fast asleep probably already. We've only just got in the car. But yeah, we're going to head home, and then tomorrow we're going to put the bikes on the back and we're going to do the next part of the driving challenge. We, by the way, got, was it 288 miles on 100% charge, which I think is too bad really. Yeah, and 225 miles to get home. So should be good. So I know I said I wasn't going to do any more filming, but we're now on the Atlantic Highway, which has turned out to be an absolute banger of a road. It's really, really good, isn't it?
It's really, really good. And there just happens to be no traffic on it.
No traffic at all. Yeah, lovely curves. Really, really annoying. I said, oh, you do the first bit of driving, Trace, that's fine. Yeah. Can we swap over? No. You enjoying the Taycan, by the way?
Yeah.
How much?
Oh, lots.
It is now the next day, and I'm going to embark on a completely unscientific test. So before anybody gets into the comments, I appreciate that my efficiency run down to Cornwall, I had 2 adults in the car and a boot full of luggage and 2 very heavy puppies. And now I've only got 1 adult in the car and no luggage in the boot. However, I do have a bike rack on the back, which weighs the same amount as a small moon, and 2 e-bikes. So I think, and this is a complete guesstimate, I've got at least a 50 kilo weight hanging on the back of the car, maybe even a little bit more than that. And I'm just going to go for a drive, and I just want to compare the efficiency that I got when we went down to Cornwall. We got around about 21 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is around about 3 miles per kilowatt hour. And I just want to see what I'm going to get. I can't really do so much of the performance driving of this car, but I have to say, having spent, we had 2 amazing runs to Cornwall and back, both just over 4 hours. Really, really pleasant place to be, this car. It's so quiet and so smooth and so comfortable, and there is power on tap whenever you want it. It really is a very impressive car. And because we had destination charging, we didn't have to worry about range anxiety and all of those types of things, and it made the journey really pleasant. The performance of this car is off the scale. As you can imagine, in a straight line it's incredibly fast, but its just flow through the corners is really impressive. But as soon as you put the bike carrier on the back, things change a little bit. First of all, I'm now conscious in my mirrors that I've got my baby's on the back. There's quite a lot of money hanging off the back of this car, which I always find a little bit nerve-wracking whenever I have my bikes on the car. What's really nice is the side mirrors, even though my bike in particular is pretty big and it's really long, the Taycan is so wide that actually it doesn't stick out at all. So you never have to really worry if you're going through width restrictions and stuff. The bikes are literally in the rear airflow of the car. They will clearly have a bit of an impact on efficiency. I wanted to have a quick mention of just this car's interior spec as well, because I think these houndstooth seats with the race techs and the leather are absolutely beautiful. I am a big houndstooth fan. This one's particularly subtle because often in Porsche's houndstooth it's kind of white and black and it is quite in your face. This just sits in the background and goes so well with the exterior colour, which I have grown to love over the time I've spent with this car. But everything else in the car is just really, really simple. And actually, most of the time, we drove down to Cornwall in normal mode, and I'm going to do this range test in normal mode as well to make it as much of a like-for-like comparison as possible. But if you stick it up into sport mode or up into sport plus, clearly the performance steps up several notches, and it's a very impressive car. The downside of that is it starts to have an impact on the range. Anyway, I'm going to get my head down and do some driving. I'm going to do a mix of different types of roads to try and emulate the drive down to Cornwall. I'm going to go on a dual carriageway and just sit at dual carriageway speeds, because I think that's where the aerodynamics of the bikes on the back will probably take effect. But that bike carrier is very sturdy, I have to say, and just looking back, I can see my bike's moving. You probably see I've put some cloths just to stop bits rubbing around. The other thing that I didn't mention earlier on in the video when I was fitting the bikes is if you've got carbon framed bikes, which both of those are, you just need to be a little bit careful when you're using the clamp and not clamp it too tight. You just need to clamp it so it's firm, but don't start over tightening it, otherwise you risk damaging your frame, which is not a good thing because that costs you lots and lots of cash. Now I have to say, coming down Racecourse Road, which if you tune into the channel regularly you'll recognise because I bring lots and lots of cars down here, it is quite difficult keeping calm and remembering that I've got a bike carrier on the rear of the car because you don't really feel it's there. You can see it in your mirrors clearly, and I guess that's a benefit, but also a downside. You do need to remember that the bikes are on the back. It sticks out, that bike carrier sticks out a long way, so it's not so bad when you're driving along down the road, but if you're manoeuvring in a town, or especially if you're in a car park or something, you just have to be really aware that the bike carrier's on the rear of the car, and some of the reversing cameras and stuff clearly don't work because it's on the back. I wasn't quite sure which way to come, so I thought I'd come a picturesque way. I love this road. It's one of these roads that it's very rarely empty, very rarely get a nice clean run at it, but it's such a beautiful view. Look at that. It's just stunning, absolutely stunning. So I'm 22.4 miles in, and I'm currently, my efficiency is 25.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. No idea what that is in miles per kilowatt hour, but I'll convert it in the edit and put it down in a banner down below. It's not as good. You want that number to be as low as possible, and I was doing about 21 down to Cornwall, and it's now up at 25. Whereas the miles per kilowatt hour you want to be as high as possible. So it's not quite as good. My average speed is 21 miles per hour, and I'm just driving normally. I'm not accelerating overly hard, I'm not speeding, I'm not in sport mode. I'm just trying to emulate the drive down to Cornwall, although Tracy was driving, so maybe I should be driving a little bit more quickly and accelerating more quickly. But yeah, so far it's not quite as good. Noise wise, actually very little noise from the rear of the car. One of the things you find, as I said, I haven't used a rear mounted bike carrier since we had a Range Rover Sport, and then we went to an Audi S4 and that didn't have a tow bar, and Audi wanted a lot of money to retrofit a tow bar because they actually changed the ECU in the car that deals with the stability systems, because I guess they're expecting you to be towing up to the maximum tow weight of the car, even though I was going to put a 7 or 8 kilo road bike on the back of the car. So from then on, really, we've used roof-mounted cycle carriers. And the two challenges for me with a roof-mounted cycle carrier, one is getting the bike up there. I've mentioned already they're not really an option for e-bikes, but that's fine. For my road bike and my mountain bike and my gravel bike, a roof-mounted carrier is fine. But, and it is a big but, on a longer journey, especially on a dual carriageway or motorway, they're particularly noisy and windy and you can hear the bikes whistling. If you've got a sunroof or a pan roof, it's great because you can look up and just check the bikes are okay, which is an added bonus. But yeah, no, noise from this carrier, actually, you can't really hear it, and it's such a quiet car with it being an EV. I think any kind of wind rush that you would get from the back would be quite pronounced, but with this car, it's really not. So, I've come all the way out to this roundabout, which is kind of the other side of Storrington for me, and it's just over 30 miles. So that will be a total journey time, or distance rather, of 60 miles, which for the time I have available today, as it's Easter Bank Holiday Monday today, I need to be doing things like not working, I think this should be just about okay. Currently on 23.4 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So let's see if that changes on the way back. Well, I'm less than 5 miles from home, and the results are in to this very non-scientific test. So I've averaged just over 24 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which, if you do the maths, is about 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour. And if you remember, we averaged around about 3 miles per kilowatt hour on our way down to Cornwall. And that doesn't surprise me. That is kind of the number I expected. I didn't expect the cycle carrier to have a massive detrimental effect on the efficiency of their car, but I did expect it to have a little bit. I don't know if you've been watching the channel long enough, but a couple of years ago I did a towing test with an EV, and towing a very large caravan on the back of a BMW XM, the efficiency halved. I went from like 3 down to 1.2 or something. So it does have a bit of an effect. Now, what I would love to do is to test a roof-mounted cycle carrier, because that would have, I reckon, a much more significant effect on the aero. The bikes are sat right in that kind of the space behind the car where you get the swirl of aero. They're not really in the direct flow. I guess the very top of the bike, the handlebars and the saddle and stuff, will be affecting the flow over the top of the car, which is where the numbers come from. But yeah, very interesting. Anyway, let me know what you think of the Taycan Cross Turismo. A very, very impressive car, one that we've both enjoyed spending time in a lot. And even though Tracy isn't a massive EV fan, she does like the Taycan. And of all the EVs that we've had as long-termers and as press cars, the Taycan is right up there. And as we mentioned, you can get used ones for really good money at the moment. So they are quite an interesting proposition. But I'm going to make my way home. It looks like it's just just about to start raining, so I'll get my bikes off the back of the car and get them back in the garage. But I hope you enjoyed that one. Something a little bit different, a bit of a mix of a video, but if you did enjoy it, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. And I'll see you on the next film. You take care, guys. Drive safe.